how can I go and become a complete different person than I am elsewhere, where I'm so shy and so withdrawn in myself, and bashful. You get that little group of friends you have, but they're really the only ones you ever talk to because you try to fit in, but you can't. And I thought, if I can do that at work, there is no reason that I can't do this outside of work. And that really made a change in me. You know what I mean? The owner, Glenn Jones was his name, Harlan Jones, both great guys. But that really helped me a lot come out of my shell, where I could meet people, and to this day, people I remember from the gas station.
Oh, really?
At this time, it's like, I remember filling your car up.
Welcome to the Montana Podcast, where we uncover the best-kept secrets of Big Sky Country. Join us as we highlight the hidden gems and unique stories that make Montana the place we know and love. Whether you're a local or a visitor, get ready to experience the true spirit of Montana, one story at a time.
And welcome back to another episode of the Montana Business. Scratch that. The Montana Podcast, where I am on a mission to highlight the Montana businesses and best kept secrets of Montana. And today I got a very special guest, Guy. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yeah. I wish that we were recording earlier when we were talking, because you just told a lot of stuff. So who are you and what do you do?
Well, I'm Guy Olson. I'm with Performance Fuel Specialists. They call me the Fuel Guy.
The Fuel Guy.
I've done this. I've been in this business since 1985. We started. I'm born and raised here, Montana. Love Montana. Just a lot like you. I just love the place. And got no plans to go nowhere.
Yeah.
But I wanted a business that would be able to keep me here in Montana and also be self-employed. I'm a much better employer than employee. So,
I can relate.
My personality.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. So you're the Fuel Guy. So tell us about what this does.
So when we started, originally we started in bulk fuel. And we were doing a mining, busing application, and I wanted to start into the retail. Now, I was just a young man. I was in my mid-20s. And I went to automotive chain here in Montana, Hines, which a lot of people would remember, Hines Motor Supply. Mm-hmm. And Lou Hines, an incredible man, the owner, or one of the owners, had brought me in. Loved the product, loved the idea, and loved the way we looked at fuels. And they went out of their way to put together a retail line for us, work with us on that. And we started out and started doing clinics and trainings and learning about fuels. And the next thing you know, I'm writing for RPM, I'm writing for Overdrive Magazine, I'm writing for OnStar Magazine out of Canada. So I've written a number of articles. And then I do clinics and trainings that I've done that are usually 3.5, 4 hours long regarding fuels, buying fuels, where to buy, when to buy, a lot of the manipulation in the industry. And I try to clear a lot of that up. And there's a lot of that out there. And so I always try and make a comparison about what makes us different. And so one of the ways that we like to think about it is continuous use of the additives. Most of your fuel additives out there are a one shot. You put it in every 3,000 miles, lasts 3,000 miles, lasts 5,000 miles. Or you add it when you change your oil. And that's usually what happens. You change your oil, you get a nice crankcase full of nice clean oil, and then you're going to pour a solvent in to blast all the carbon and all the garbage out of your fuel system into your nice clean oil, which you're going to run for 3,000 miles. And I've always said, what are we thinking? That is the worst time to put an additive in.
Should you do it right before the oil change?
You do it continuously. So the big thing that separates us is the concentration. So a bottle of this, like our Gas Plus, treats 120 gallons. So it's 1 ounce to 10 gallons. Makes it very affordable to use because you're not throwing away 12 bottles. Most you add the whole bottle, you throw it away. You're throwing away all that plastic on top of that, plus the cost of manufacturing and the equipment. We're much better off to spend our money inside the bottle. And then you keep it clean every time. You keep it lubricated every time. You want to take the water out a little at a time every time so that when winter gets here, you don't have a tank full of water. So you're always at your 100% efficiency. And so one of my competitors years ago came up with a flyer and he handed it to me and he said, what do you think of our new additive? And it has a toothbrush on it. And the flyer says, your injectors are like your teeth. They need regular cleaning. Use a bottle of our additive every 5,000 miles. And I said, so tell me, do you brush your teeth every 5,000 meals? He says, yeah, right. So, no, you clean them every day, right? You want to keep them clean all the time. I've got testing data on all of these. You can get on our website. It's fuelguys.com. There's all kinds of testing data, but one of the big tests that we show on there, it's amazing. The new injection systems are extremely complex, and it's in a diesel engine, and the injectors that they use are new, they're clean, they are testing our additive to see how well it'll clean. Well, they run the injectors till they get dirty, they add a zinc to it to make it dirty faster, then they pull a couple of the injectors and they inspect them before they add the additive to see how quickly it'll clean. Well, what they found was when they got dirty, the openings in these injectors are 150 microns, which is very small. And the injectors had a 5 micron layer of deposit. Now you can't visibly see 5 microns. Bacteria are 5 microns or less, just to give you an idea. That's how little of a deposit was in that injector. But with that tiny deposit, in that 150 micron opening, they had a 12% loss of efficiency. So when can you afford a 12% loss of power and efficiency with just that microscopic amount? So keeping it clean all the time, you always get 100% versus every 3,000 miles, you get 100% for one tank, and then it goes back to getting dirty again. So it's just a different philosophy. And it's the same with lubrication. You need that lubricity every time. You just don't occasionally want to lubricate your fuel system. Diesel engine, gas engine, whatever it is, you don't occasionally lubricate your crankcase, right? We're going to use a quart of motor oil today, and then we're going to run it, and then every month we're going to put a quart of motor oil in.
That's awesome.
So it's just a different philosophy.
Yeah. So where can people buy this?
Well, you can get on our website, fuelguys.com, and it's got a retail location. So wherever you are, you can do in your website. It'll automatically locate you at times, depends on your setup or your zip code, and it will help you find a local retailer.
Cool.
If not, if you don't have one, we sell it right online. You get free shipping over $30, and watch for the specials. We've got one coming up on the 20th, I think, of this month. We're doing Motorhead Garage on Motor Trend Television, and they're running a special for that. And these are great segments. They're about 7 minutes long, and they're educational segments as well. It's a complicated business.
Yeah, I to be honest, I learned more about this stuff than I have my entire life. But I think it's super cool that, especially what the efficiency that you've done, and it sounds like this is way cleaner than.
Oh yeah, it's excellent. We don't use solvent. It's a tricky industry because there's ways to clean your fuel system. You can use paint thinner to clean your fuel system, but that doesn't mean paint thinner is good for your fuel system. It just means that it cleans it. And there's a lot of ways to manipulate the business. It's called snake oil, and it's called snake oil for a reason. One of the things that we fight all the time is we'll take, say, a diesel treatment, and we'll say, well, this diesel additive, it cleans, it lubricates, it does everything, right? And this is what the competition will do to make it sound like it's inexpensive. And they'll say, but if it doesn't, if you need more cleaning, if you need more lubrication, you need to double it or you need to triple it. Well, now the cost is getting more. Oh, and if you need extra lubrication, you got to add an additional product. Or if you need extra cleaning, you got to add an additional product. Now, how many times have you been at the gas station putting fuel in your vehicle and looked at the gas going in and say, oh, my goodness, I need more lubrication. I should have got that extra lubricant. I can look at it. I can see it from here.
Not once.
Never, never. So just the simple statement saying if you're going to need more lubrication, if you're going to need more is crazy in itself, because it really doesn't make any sense. But it sounds good on the bottle. You can do it. The same they do with anti-gels. So anti-gels function like this. We'll make it simple. Anti-gels chemically change the fuel. They don't physically change it. So if you're a diesel person at all, you've got number 1 diesel, which is a lot more money than number 2, but it's not as good. It's thin, it has less wax, and it's thin because diesel is an oil. Number 2 diesel is more thick and it has more wax. And so when you add number 1 to number 2, you make the fuel more thin and you have a less wax volume. Anti-gels chemically change the fuel. So what we do, like I said, to make it simple, so you got 1 million wax particles in your fuel. You add this, and what it does is it changes the polarity of all those wax particles, and we're going to make them all positive. So when it gets cold and those particles want to coagulate or join together and become large mats, which is what causes all the problem, they actually push away, right? So we just change the polarity, right? That's simply put, to think about it. We chemically change the fuel. But a lot of the competition will say, well, you need this much additive, but if it's going to be below 0, you add double. If it's going to be below 10, you add triple. And so what they're doing is saying, we're going to put a little bit in to change some of the polarities. And then if you double it, we'll change more of that, and we'll triple it. And it's all done to manipulate you, and I don't like that. You don't know how cold it's going to be. You don't know the type of lubricity you need. You don't know the detergents you need. So let's just do it all in one shot. You never need to double it. You never need to add an additional product. These are what we call a complete formula. I'm going to give you the lubricity up to 25%. I'm going to take care of the anti-gel to its cold. You can double the anti-gel, it doesn't get any better. It's maximum amount. You can put any additive on top of it. It is not going to make it better. Once they're all changed, once the polarity is all positive on all of them, you can't change it more. It already is. The trick is to get people to understand that. There's no shortcuts. And so we try to just teach people. We do a lot of fleets. We go in, we teach people to understand the difference between blending and chemistry, and how that affects them, when to blend, the type of cleaning, using a detergent to clean like we do as opposed to a solvent. Solvents clean great, right? Doesn't mean they're good for your fuel system. It just means that they clean. And
that's awesome. So why, how did you get into this?
Yeah. Well, I started out building a high-performance engine. I've always tinkered with engines and mechanicking, and just really have always liked it. Although I didn't want to make my living as a mechanic. I figured one day I'd be too old to do it, which would be now, right? And I was having fuel problems because of the compression, and the gas is so poor. And so I was looking for an additive that would give me the boost in octane, but something I can afford. I'm a young man, right? I'm not even really married at this point. I'm kind of right on the cusp of getting married, and ran across this company that manufactured this particular chemistry. Ended up working with the chemist himself, who was actually a World War II chemist, or did chemistry for World War II. And that got me started on this. I just loved it. I just really loved it. So I started in 1985. I got into this. I was married in 1985, so my wife had played a huge role in that, and actually knew more about fuel than most men would ever hope to know. And so we started together, and Lord has just put us all the stepping stones we needed. We had great success with whether it's the bottling people or the distribution, Heinz Motors.
Yeah, and everything's done here in Livingston.
We manufacture. We're actually not in Livingston. We're south of Livingston, but we actually manufacture it. We formulate it. We print our own labels in Livingston. Our boxes are made right here in Bozeman. I am very conscious of Montana and doing as much as I can here. You know what I mean? Providing
Absolutely.
that's because this is home. And trying to do everything we can to save money for whoever's using it, to make it affordable product at the same time, which is why we have the concentration rate.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
It's a great product line, and like I said, the Motorhead Television, Motorhead Garage has been a great asset for us just recently. Those videos are on our website as well.
And that's fuelguys.com?
Fuelguys.com will take you there, and you can kind of see what we've got. If you want to get any of the literature and stuff on it, the testing data, the product, we've got the Gas Plus here. Our gas treatments have the Ethanol Guardian because we've got so much ethanol in our fuel, and there's some real problems with that. You should see the data on it. It's stunning for corrosion protection, acidity control, pH control, and actually will get you what they call a 2-point octane reduction index, which basically is equivalent on a motor octane. So it actually will gain you a couple points in your octane as well. So, which is really how I got into the business, looking for that bump in octane.
That's cool.
Affordably.
Cool. So you are from Livingston, Montana.
Mm-hmm.
Born and raised there.
I was born in Sydney, moved
That's
when I was
right.
really small
Yep.
to Livingston. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And I was all my education there. And
Yeah. So growing up in Livingston, Montana, what was like one of your favorite parts of your childhood?
Oh, well, my family, and to this day, family's really important to me. Just a small town, being able to ride your bikes, walk to school. It was a safe, very safe community. The wind, absolutely my favorite part.
Yeah.
I love the winter and I love the cold. And my dad worked at Safeway for about 35 years.
Oh, cool.
And worked in Livingston. He actually was in the non-foods department for years doing guns and tents and camping gear. In Safeway?
Okay.
Yeah, believe it or not. And so we moved here when I was really young, and everybody knew my dad. He was quite a guy. He was an amazing man. And so that was one of the things around town. If you were the son of Howard Olson, everybody recognized you, you know what I mean? And kind of an instant credit kind of a deal. And the closeness. I was incredibly bashful in school. The first job I had, I did deliver papers. I started delivering when I was about 11 years old in street selling, doing street selling for the Enterprise back when they had that, you bought them for a nickel or 7 cents and sold them for 15. But I started at a gas station working, which I thought was my dream job. I could work in this gas station forever. That was when it was more full service.
Yeah.
And because I was incredibly bashful, it was hard to start, because that was back when you had to talk to people. They come in and you'd ask, can I check your tires, check your oil, wash your windows, all of that. But I would get to work and I just enjoyed it. I loved it. And so you didn't have a credit card. You'd say, give me 20 gallons and charge it to so-and-so. And so you'd go in and write it down, 20 gallons And I remember distinctly thinking at one point, how is it that I can go to work and just be friendly and talk to these people and be so open? And I think we talked a little bit about this in our personalities.
Yeah.
And how can I go and become a complete different person than I am elsewhere, where I'm so shy and so withdrawn in myself, and bashful. You get that little group of friends you have, but they're really the only ones you ever talk to because you try to fit in, but you can't. And I thought, if I can do that at work, there is no reason that I can't do this outside of work. And that really made a change in me. You know what I mean? The owner, Glenn Jones was his name, Harlan Jones, both great guys. But that really helped me a lot come out of my shell, where I could meet people, and to this day, people I remember from the gas station.
Oh, really?
At this time, it's like, I remember filling your car up with gas.
That's cool.
And doing that. So I like that tight-knit community where you used to know everybody. You don't anymore so much, but...
No, especially in this part of the woods. Man, every time I'm in Bozeman, it just seems like it's changed.
Yeah, it's changing really fast. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Is that gas station that you worked at as a kid still there?
Nope. It's long gone. 6th Street, Conoco. And, but it was a great part of my life. And, greasing cars and changing tires. And, of course, as a kid, like I said, I was living high in the hog. I loved it.
There you go. Awesome.
So
where is like your favorite place to like get away in Montana? Like a hidden gem.
A hidden gem. Well, there's several places. I've traveled all over. One of the places I really enjoy, and you probably can relate, is the old road in Wolf Creek Canyon, out north of Helena, between Great Falls and Helena. And it's called, what is it called? The Scenic Road, I think they call it Scenic Road or something. But you can catch it early in Wolf Creek Canyon, or if you come back from Great Falls, you got to catch it early as well. But it winds along the river. It goes underneath the cliffs and the rocks. It's about 20 miles long. Mm-hmm. It's just a beautiful drive. And that's actually, they made a movie there. If you remember the Untouchables movie.
No,
there's a bridge there. There's an old bridge there. It's still there. And there's an old house there.
Yeah.
And that's where they shot the scene of Canada, when they were crossing into Canada.
Really?
It was shot at that location. Yeah. The house and stuff is still there. But it's a beautiful drive.
It is.
In the summertime. And it's up against a rock face. And it's one of those things, you pass it. Wolf Creek is beautiful.
Yeah.
The canyon's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But you get down inside the canyon, they kind of meander through.
Oh, yeah.
I love that as well. There's also the natural bridge out of Big Timber.
Okay.
And if you take the Swingley Road in the spring to the natural bridge, it's a gravel road. It takes you within 5 miles, I think, of the natural bridge, and then you just turn to the right and go to that. It is a spectacular drive as well. End of May, early June is gorgeous. And of course, I'm a Yellowstone Park fan. I love Yellowstone Park. We didn't go as a kid. I think we went 2 times.
Really?
I can remember. It was when people come to visit. But we didn't really go. So when I got married, me and my wife started going and just fell in love with it and went on a regular basis till it burned up in '88. Then I took a few years off. I just couldn't stand going back and looking at it. It was just too painful.
Yeah.
And then started having kids about 5 years later, and started camping with my kids up there. I think some of their greatest memories are camping in Yellowstone. We did a lot of camping.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Tent camping, and then ended up having to go to a trailer later on,
Yeah.
But love Yellowstone Park. It's just a relaxing place.
Yellowstone and Glacier, beautiful places.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Glacier's amazing. Love the Glacier Park. So there's a lot of beauty in, even get into the Badlands can be really beautiful, especially in the spring of the year. It's totally different country, but you just have to learn to appreciate whatever the country is, whether it's grasslands or mountainous terrains. There's just beauty in all of it.
Absolutely, yeah. Anywhere in Montana, there is beauty.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, Guy, I appreciate you driving all the way down here and being on the show.
not a problem. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. Do you guys have a social media? Do you guys?
Yep, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on X. I don't do a lot of that type of stuff. We do have some stuff on there. I'm actually looking at expanding that. To some degree, the Motorhead Garage, because it's nationwide, we've got a lot more people interested in looking at that.
Yeah.
And so we're in the process of trying to put some of these videos. The problem I have is, except if I do a 3 to 4 hour training, I can develop everything. And so you're listening to me explain one problem that you've already heard earlier, and you can understand it. But it's hard to do in a small clip. And anymore, as you know, people have a real small retention for memory.
The longer ones, like, that's what YouTube's for. But really, put it on social media, that's just to get awareness and build your brand.
Yeah, and I have a YouTube channel, Fuel Guys, as well.
Cool.
My YouTube channel, and there's some longer stuff on there. We do explain there's just more complicated things. Microbial issues, your diesel, your gas can both, but primarily diesel, have microbial problems, meaning bugs actually live in your fuel. They actually eat your fuel. They use the oxygen in the water to breathe, and they poop in your gas tank, and they create an acid, this acid which will literally dissolve stainless steel. And they can wipe out a fuel system so fast you would not believe the damage they can do. And so we teach people about that, how to monitor for that, how to look for that, how to treat it when it's done, because it's a different product than what you would have here. It's actually a pesticide. It's actually a pesticide you treat with your fuel, because you've got little bugs running around your fuel. You got to poison them and kill them and get them out of the fuel itself. And it's been a real problem that stretched up. The lower the sulfur in your fuel, the more bugs you have. And so as the sulfur has got less and less, we've increased the amount of bugs. They also like heat. And of course, the new fuel systems have such incredibly high pressure. They create a lot of heat. And of course, that heat creates a lot of moisture. And it also creates a very nice and growing environment for these bugs. And so everything is just catapulted. One thing has caused another problem, which causes another problem, which causes another problem. And so it's really can be complicated. But I try to do my clinics and my training, so I explain it in a way that everybody can understand it. Like the toothbrush.
Yeah.
So cleaning your teeth and keep them clean all the time. Keep it lubricated all the time. It's not a miracle in a bottle. It ain't going to replace common sense, good filtration, good mechanics, good maintenance. It's not going to do that, nor any additive.
Yeah.
But it is a real benefit to keep it lubricated. Always keep the best fuel economy. Am I going to give you an increase in your fuel mileage? I'm never going to tell you that. I've had people say it. I just got an email yesterday saying, I got an increase in my fuel mileage. That's terrific. I'm glad to hear it. But I will tell you, a clean fuel system always gets better fuel mileage than a dirty one. That I can promise you. That is just in the cards. And so keep it clean all the time. Why let it get dirty and then clean it up later?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, keep it clean all the time.
And is your Instagram Fuel Guys?
Fuel Guys, and yeah, I think that's what it is. I'd have to even look. I'm terrible at that, but it's on here, yeah. Instagram is PFS Fuel Guys. Performance Fuel Specialists is the company. And so it's PFS Fuel Guys. And X is the same, PFS Fuel Guys, and Facebook. PFS.
Awesome, guys.
Like Performance Fuel Specialist, which is the company we've been for years and years. They started calling me the fuel guy. Years ago, I'd show up to a place and go, "You're the fuel guy. You're the fuel guy." Well, my name being Guy, which I've always hated, it worked out good. Worked out good. You're the fuel guy. So we've become the fuel guys, and it's worked really well. So the people who use the product love it. My customers, I still have my very first customer. They've gone through 3 different managements, but they're still using PFS.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So,
well, hey, for the people that are in Montana, want to support local businesses, go to fuelguys.com. Follow them on all social media, YouTube, and
Yeah.
On
Appreciate
October 20th.
I think it's October 20th. It's a Sunday morning. It's on Motorhead Garage. And then we got another one coming out in November.
Okay.
Also, and that will be, and they're listed on the website. And both of these are specific to understanding gelling in diesel fuel.
Awesome.
And understanding that industry, because it is complicated. People are really confused about what an additive will do and what number one does. And so if I can educate you and I can teach you a little bit, then you'll say, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. And we got a YouTube channel on it on blending as well, a YouTube show. And we got a flyer on when to blend, which will walk you through as the temperature drops, what you need to do to stay running. Things have changed. Things always change. It's an exciting business. You wouldn't think fuel is. It's an exciting business. We got renewable diesel now coming out. That's brand new, right? We had the biodiesel attempt. That was a disaster. Now we got renewable. And that's really changing things. Renewable is a totally different deal. And so the chemistry is changing a little bit. This will work with all the renewable fuels, but the diesel anti-gel is a caveat with that. We're still working on that. Everybody's working on that.
Will this work with my Tesla?
No, it won't. But it'll work in the vehicle you drive when it's cold.
Yeah.
Instead of your Tesla. How about that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
awesome. Well,
yeah.
Guy, thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate you having me.